huh? What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. I am so congested. Before I go to get myself some tea and put my feet up and relax today, with a very rare day off, I just want to thank everybody out there, all right? Everybody who likes, who shares, everyone who subscribes, and who clicks that notification bell. Thank you so much for rocking with the brother. And as always, I remind you guys that you can catch me on Twitter. I'm usually on Twitter a hell of a lot more than I'm on video. So, I'll leave the link to that in the description box. You can check me out. Also, there's a PayPal in the description box. Check me out there, too. I want to thank everybody who has, looked out for me and donated and stuff. And, I can't even tell you, if you're like me, you don't like ever asking for anything from anybody. And, when people actually give, and that's big. All right. So thank you so much. And guys, I want to take a time, right here to talk about this because, since The Rise came out, and I explained to you guys before that I am not saying Star Wars or Skywalker with this. All right. It's just The Rise forevermore to me. All right. So since The Rise came out, a lot of people have been making a lot out of the fact that there appears to be a few scenes in this movie where it seems like J.J. Abrams is taking a direct hit at Rian Johnson, as far as The Last Jedi and retconning and disregarding the creative decisions that Rian Johnson made in the last movie. And, some people are saying that he did that for us. It's a love letter to Star Wars fans, which makes me want to fucking puke. There is no love letter to fans that you can come up with that would desecrate George Lucas's work the way that J.J. Abrams did in that last movie. J.J. Abrams is a clear and present enemy to Star Wars with what he just did. And then I read an article saying that he's done now. He's done with Star Wars. He's never coming back to it. There's nothing to come back to. You fucked it up so bad. And I guess that's actually a good thing. But you know what? Let me leave that alone. The point of this video is, before I start ranting on that and start coughing all over the place again, I want to very matter-of-factly bring your attention to this article right here. There's a lot of articles out today. And one of them is talking about, I guess, the perception that J.J. Abrams was, in fact, taking a hit at Rian Johnson with some of the things that he did with this last movie, The Rise. All right? J.J. Abrams says that's not what he was doing at all. Okay, so I want you to pay attention, all right? This article is on comicbook.com. And it says here, Star Wars, The Rise. Oh, guys, they make me say it. Okay, all right. For the sake of reading it, I'll say it. Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker director says, the film is not flipping off The Last Jedi. He says it's not flipping off The Last Jedi. And this is by J.K. Schmidt. And he goes on to say, the latest episode of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, that's going to stick, it just sticks in my throat, introduced some key revelations for fans of the saga, especially when it came to mysteries surrounding Kylo Ren, Emperor Palpatine, Supreme Leader Snoke, and of course, the so-called Last Jedi known simply as Rey. There were a lot of developments that many fans believe the film. There were a lot of developments that many fans believe the film was a course correction from Star Wars: The Last Jedi, as J.J. Abrams made a lot of changes that fans were expecting after Rian Johnson's entry into the saga. But Abrams himself disputes the fact that he retconned the events of Episode 8. While answering questions for a recent event for the Academy, Abrams explained that he loved Johnson's movie. I said Abrams explained that he loved Johnson's movie. So please, guys, the ones who are out there ready to say that J.J. Abrams is fandom menace and he did something for us, that is not the fucking truth, okay? Of course, I can hear people now, well, you don't expect him to admit that. Well, if he's not admitting it, it doesn't count, okay? These people owe us an apology, okay? An outward public apology for what they did to what we love and the way they've treated us. They've called the fandom some terrible names. We all familiar with it. They charged us with practically driving Kelly Marie Tran to death, driving her off of Instagram and all that stuff. And also calling us the worst of humanity, which would be misogynist, racist, hateful. We were called a hate group. People like me were not even acknowledged. You know what I mean? Black people didn't even count. We shouldn't even have the right to vote as far as these people are concerned. They didn't acknowledge us. We don't have the right to vote on how we feel about this movie because they didn't acknowledge us. So they set us back something like 60 years. These people are terrible, and they need to apologize for what they did. If they're not apologizing publicly, it doesn't count. All right? So Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams says that, let me see. He loved Johnson's movie, and he wasn't trying to backtrack any choices the filmmaker was making. And J.J. Abrams says, "It would be a much more interesting answer if there were conflict." I'm going to kill myself trying to do this voice right now. I can't do it. My voice is messed up. "The truth is that I was getting The Force Awakens up and running. I was nothing but grateful." No, I'm not going to do it. He says, "I was nothing but grateful that a director and writer I admire as much as Ryan was coming in to do that." Okay? From the top. "It would be a much more interesting answer if there were conflict." There wasn't any conflict. "The truth is that I was getting The Force Awakens up and running. I was nothing but grateful that a director and writer I admire as much as Rian Johnson was coming in to do that. Not expecting to come back to this. It was just fun to watch what was happening and get to respond to it. When I was called to come on to do this movie, of course I wish we had that time that we didn't." Okay, so this is what I was talking about in the last video, guys. I was saying that it wasn't so much that he was taking a hit at Rian Johnson as much as they were playing off of each other back and forth. Meanwhile, what they're playing off of is they're playing with our emotions. Alright? This is very serious to a lot of us who grew up with it. A lot of people know this lore backwards and frontwards. This is not a fucking ping pong game that you can just keep on hitting the fans back and forth. But I believe that's the way that they see it. You did this, now I'm going to do that. I do that, now you're going to do this. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, they all have a laugh with Kathleen Kennedy. Abrams explained that he worked with his co-writer Chris Terrio and had many discussions with Johnson while writing The Rise, and that choices he made with Star Wars The Last Jedi provided new opportunities. He added, "It's been nothing but collaborative in a way. The perspective, at least personally, I got stepping away and seeing what Ryan did strangely gave us opportunities that would never have been there. Because of course, he made choices that no one else would have made." You fucking right about that. Just as we all do. Oh boy, it's starting to jump all over the place. As any of us in this room do. In a way, it felt like a gift. Yes, The Last Jedi was a gift unto the world. And though there were challenges in every direction, some logistical, some narrative, everything, it was actually weirdly more helpful than not having that other energy. It felt like sort of alchemy because of the things that he did. As far as Abrams using the opportunity to reverse the events of The Last Jedi, he pointed out a specific criticism that he's heard about being blatantly disrespectful toward Johnson. Another thing I'll say is, I think that people who say, "Oh, this film is flipping off The Last Jedi," when Luke says the thing he does about the lightsaber, if the scene in The Last Jedi where Luke tosses the saber over his shoulder were immediately followed by Luke saying, "A Jedi's weapon deserves more respect," I think that was insane. But one of the many brilliant things that Ryan did in The Last Jedi is give Luke an arc. He learned something. He got somewhere. At the end of the film, he recommitted to the thing that at the very beginning of the film he was rejecting. Fans can see how Abrams picks up from Johnson's plot threads with The Rise, now playing in theaters. Alright guys, so there you have it, and I struggled to read through that because I really want to put this out there to the fandom menace because, you know, I'm starting to sense a little bit, you know, like on Twitter and in videos and stuff like that, like there's a very fine difference of opinion that's come out that somehow The Rise is Disney Lucasfilm's way of trying to make things right. It's just not, guys. Alright? Star Wars and Disney, it's a terrible fit. You know, I made the point on the last video that they don't deserve the right to end the so-called Skywalker saga because they never would have made the decisions that George Lucas made in his original 6 films. And that much is obvious because they threw out his story treatments not once but twice. Alright? They have no connection to true uncut Star Wars. Alright? They don't respect George Lucas's ideas. They don't respect his decisions and his method of storytelling. So they don't have the right to say what is the end of that storytelling, which is the reason why now that this trilogy is over, it helps me to completely reject it. I don't differentiate between movies anymore. I'm going to keep making that point. I don't differentiate between The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise. To me, it's in one big garbage bag right now. This trilogy is one big garbage bag that I will be putting on the corner next Tuesday morning for sanitation to pick up. You know, that's the way I feel about it. It's as far removed from George Lucas's original trilogy and prequel trilogy that it can possibly be. It does not connect to that whatsoever. All right? This is just some fake shit that they came up with to make money. Some people are going to accept it as canon. That's fine. I'm not going to be fighting with people about that. Like I said, you can get in the comment section if you want to and say how much you enjoyed it, and I will tell you all the same thing. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right? But as far as I'm concerned, there's no connection there. J.J. Abrams is not our friend. He didn't take shots at Rian Johnson. He didn't retcon shit. All right? I read that article so you can understand a little bit better where I'm coming from. You can get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about that. As always, like I say, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. Come check me out on Twitter. All right, guys, that's it for now. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. I will catch you on the next one. Rock on.